In the 1960s, British agricultural trials documented yields that should not be biologically possible. One single crop produced over 100 tons of biomass per acre year after year. It grew on soil so poor that other crops failed. It was cut 5 times in a single season, regrowing to full size in just 4 weeks. And the most shocking part, it required no fertilizer input, no irrigation, and absolutely no replanting for 20 years. Laboratory analysis confirmed that this plant decomposes faster than any known green manure. While other crops take weeks to break down, this plant melts into the soil in 48 hours, releasing a flood of nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium directly to the roots of your garden. By all logic, this should be the foundation of modern agriculture. It is a biological machine that turns sunlight into fertilizer. Yet by 2001, it had vanished from almost every garden center in America. Today, the global fertilizer industry generates $230 billion annually, consuming vast amounts of natural gas to sell farmers something this plant produces for free. This is Comfrey, specifically the legendary strain known as Bocking 14. The war to erase it reveals what happens when nature offers something corporations cannot control. They didn't ban it because it failed. They banned it because it worked too well. Welcome to reclaimed nature. Let's dig up the truth. To understand why this plant is a threat to the fertilizer industry, we must go back to the moment it was engineered. Not in a Monsanto lab, but in a Quaker's garden. The year was 1845. The Irish potato famine was decimating Europe. 1 million people starved to death. Henry Doubleday, a poor Quaker in Essex, watched the horror and vowed to find a crop that could prevent future starvation. He sent for Russian Comfrey, hoping to create a high-protein fodder for livestock. But what arrived was a genetic accident. The plants were a natural hybrid, a cross between the wild Symphytum officinale and the rough Symphytum asperum. This hybrid possessed something called hybrid vigor. It grew faster, larger, and stronger than its parents. But Henry Doubleday died before his vision could conquer the world. Tragedy struck when his family burned all his research notes. 30 years of data turned to ash. It seemed the plant would be forgotten. But in 1948, a horticulturist named Lawrence Hills picked up the torch. He spent decades testing 21 different strains of Comfrey. He was looking for the Holy Grail. He needed a plant that grew massive amounts of leaves for fertilizer but did not produce seeds. Why? Because wild Comfrey is a nightmare. It spreads like a virus. He needed a sterile guardian. He found it in trial plot number 14, Bocking 14. This strain was sterile. It never produced viable seed. It put 100% of its energy into leaf production. It stayed exactly where you planted it, acting as a permanent fertilizer factory. Then Hills did something the modern industry could not comprehend. He refused to patent it. Instead, he mailed root cuttings for free to anyone who asked: gardeners in England, farmers in Africa, researchers in America. He wanted to decentralize fertility. He wanted every farmer to own their own fertilizer source. And for a while, it worked. Until the system realized that free fertilizer is bad for business. So how does this plant achieve what chemical fertilizers cannot? The secret lies deep underground. While your vegetables have roots that barely scratch the surface, Comfrey sends a massive taproot plunging 10 to 14 feet into the earth. It punches through hardpan clay. It bypasses the depleted topsoil. It reaches the subsoil, the mineral vault, that no other crop can access. It functions as a living mining drill. It pumps up potassium, calcium, and phosphorus from the deep earth and concentrates them in its massive leaves. When you cut those leaves and drop them on your garden, you are not just adding organic matter. You are importing deep earth minerals to the surface. It is a biological nutrient pump, and the decomposition speed is terrifyingly fast. Because Comfrey has a perfect carbon-to-nitrogen ratio, bacteria devour it. Toss fresh leaves onto a stalled compost pile, and within 48 hours, the temperature will spike. It is the activator that turns garbage into black gold. But this rapid breakdown reveals a deeper secret. The same mechanism that makes comfrey rot so fast is the same mechanism that heals human flesh. The plant is loaded with a compound called allantoin. Allantoin is a cell proliferant. It stimulates cells to divide and multiply at an accelerated rate. In the soil, this speeds up bacterial growth. In the human body, it speeds up tissue repair. This is why, for 2,000 years, the Romans called it knit bone. Battlefield surgeons used it to create poultices that fused broken bones and healed open wounds faster than nature intended. And here is the critical distinction that the modern world forgot: FDA banned. You can still harvest these leaves, infuse them into oil, and create a survival salve that heals bruises, sprains, and cuts. It is the only plant that heals the soil and the farmer simultaneously. So if Bocking 14 is sterile safe, produces endless fertilizer, and heals wounds, why can't you find it at Home Depot because of what happened on July 6, 2001? On that day, the FDA issued a warning advising manufacturers to remove comfrey dietary supplements from the market. They cited studies showing that certain alkaloids in the root could cause liver damage if ingested in large quantities. The warning was technically about internal use pills and teas, but the reaction was total annihilation. Garden centers panicked. They saw the word toxic and stopped stocking the plants entirely. Nurseries burned their inventory. The distinction between drinking it and using it as fertilizer was lost in the hysteria. But look at the timing. In 2001, the natural gas industry, the primary feedstock for synthetic nitrogen fertilizer, was consolidating. The fertilizer industry was becoming a global monopoly worth billions. They rely on farmers being addicted to the annual purchase of NPK bags. Comfrey represents the opposite of that business model. You buy one root cutting for $5. You plant it once. It multiplies forever. It provides all the potassium your garden needs for 20 years. It is a one-time purchase in an economy built on subscriptions. So when the FDA warning came out, the industry didn't fight to clarify it. They let the confusion destroy the competition. They threw the baby out with the bathwater. And just like that, the most powerful tool in organic agriculture was labeled a pariah. The ban was a lie of omission. The danger was exaggerated. The potential was buried. But the plant is still here. Bocking 14 didn't go extinct. It just went underground, literally and metaphorically. It is time to bring it back. If you want to break your dependence on the garden center, here is the reclaimed nature protocol. Step 1, the source. Do not buy seeds. Remember, Bocking 14 is sterile. If someone sells you comfrey seeds, they are selling you the invasive wild variety that will take over your yard. You must buy root cuttings rhizomes from a reputable grower. 1 inch of root is all you need to start an empire. Step 2. The chop and drop. This is the lazy gardener's secret weapon. Plant comfrey around the drip line of your fruit trees. 3 times a season, slash the leaves down and leave them on the soil. They will melt into the earth, releasing a slow drip feed of potassium right where the tree needs it. No hauling compost, no buying bags. Step 3. The stink tea reactor. If you need liquid fertilizer that hits harder than Miracle-Gro, do this. Stuff a bucket full of comfrey leaves. Weigh them down with a brick. Fill with water and cover it tight. Wait 3 weeks. Warning. When you open that bucket, it will smell like death. It smells like a sewer, but that stench is the smell of concentrated nutrition. Dilute it 1 to 10 with water. Your tomatoes will explode with growth. Step 4. The healer's salve. And yes, reclaim the medicine. Don't drink it, but don't waste its healing power. Infuse dried leaves in olive oil for 6 weeks, mix with beeswax, and you have the legendary knit bone salve. Cut, scrapes, bruises, it heals them with the speed of Wolverine. You are planting more than a fertilizer factory. You are planting a legacy of independence. Every time you cut a comfrey leaf, you are stealing $1 from the chemical industry. Every time you heal your soil for free, you are proving that nature is abundant, not scarce. They tried to ban it. They tried to scare you. They tried to make you forget. But Henry Doubleday's dream survived the fire. Lawrence Hill's vision survived the FDA. And now the cutting is in your hands. Plant it once, harvest forever.